Hey everybody, it's Seth. I am actually just testing out the live broadcast function on YouTube. I am thinking about doing more of these live broadcasts, but I don't fully understand how they work. So, I think I am the only one watching. There's also, I know it is also the middle of the afternoon in Asia, and it is like the middle of the night, or it's about to be the middle of the night in America. So who's watching? So I've been watching Aaron Clary lately. Hey Jeremy, what's up, man? I'm testing this out. I've been watching Aaron Clary do this, and I'm thinking of doing more live broadcasts. Matthew, yeah, I've never done this before. I think I did one like 2 years ago. God, it's hot. It is hot in Southeast Asia. I just shot a video about parents bullying their kids, which I think is a good topic. It's just, I made it mostly for high schoolers because that whole college conversation is so irritating. It's so unbelievable to me that we are still pressuring young people to go to college. But I was doing some videos more about like the career path of digital marketing, and then some success tips and things like that. If you guys want to ask me any questions or anything you want me to talk about, you can enter it into the chat, because like I said, sometimes I'm here by myself and I'm just kind of like, so I could talk to myself and feel like a crazy person, or I could talk to my computer and I can feel less crazy. Yeah. I just did this 12-minute rant, so I think I probably ranted out everything I was going to say. Maybe I'll get back into it. I got another email from another high school or young person whose parents are like, making them go to college. And I just don't understand why people are so stupid about this topic. It just blows my mind that like a person, will pressure their teenager to go into debt to study Shakespeare or some other crap. But anyway, I'm trying to get a sense also, because I published a few videos last week. I have more testimonials to publish. I keep publishing them, but last week it went down, like the viewership and the engagement went down a lot. I don't know if it's because it's just back to school time or what, or people are getting tired of seeing all these stories. What do you guys say? You type in, are you getting tired of seeing success stories from my digital marketing course, or is there some other topic that you're interested in seeing? Let me know. Type it into the chat box, because I'm looking at it, I'm like, damn, it's great. I'm like, dude, I'm just gonna keep posting these as long as people send them to me. But other than that, it's kind of weird just to be talking to nobody. It's good to hear, Ricky. Thank you. I think so. I kind of wanted to vary it up. Publish some other videos. I haven't done any I haven't done any new content for the YouTube channel. And then also I am doing a new interview video, but it's in the course. It's for people in the course. I want to really, we did all these mock interviews, which were awesome. And I really am now giving me a really clear idea of how I can help people really get comfortable in their interviews. Hey, No Limit. Who is that? I think I know who that is, but I can't remember. Hello from Canada. I just saw, I don't know if you're this person, but somebody sent me, they want to work at an agency that another one of my students works at, a really good agency. But what's really funny is that all their positions in the US, but then they have a Toronto, Canada position. And on the job application form, it's like, are you authorized to work in the United States? It has all these questions about the United States. I was like, you guys, you're a big agency. You need to update this because your position is in Canada. Writing out and practicing. Good. Anybody watching, if you're not in the course, it's something I've always done this, but I'm going to, what do I say? Focus on it more, which is like when you have an interview, rehearse. actors, I was thinking about this having shot a movie. I mean, when you're an actor, you rehearse. Like you gotta go over the same lines 100 times before it comes out on screen. So if you're gonna do an interview, I think it's just good also to help with your nerves, because if you have practiced what you're gonna say, you're not gonna be as nervous. I used to script the things I would say. Now I feel pretty comfortable just getting on the camera, getting on camera and talking out of my butt. But yeah, like I said before, I talked for like 12 minutes about parents and like what to do. And I know most of you guys watching, any of you guys in high school, or most of you guys like already on the job hunt? Feel free to type in or don't. When is the sequel? Thanks so much for asking. I don't think there. First of all, there won't be a sequel. I think the story that we told was the story that there was to tell. I don't think, like, obviously we were inspired by Weekend at Bernie's, and then they did a Weekend at Bernie's. I was like, a second one doesn't work. Like the gag is there, but I am working on. So I have all these feature scripts that I've written, and you guys know I put most of my focus on digital marketing in the course. What's up, Daniel? And I am writing a graphic novel based on one of my screenplays. So I wrote this screenplay. I actually don't want to say exactly what it's about on the internet yet, because I want to kind of keep it under wraps. But it's like, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't really say that. I've written about 4 screenplays that I always start with really simple concepts. Then it gets crazy and there's special effects, and I'm like, dude, this is gonna be really expensive. But so I'm actually working with an artist right now, to work on a graphic novel. I'm going to my job tomorrow, working on 2 e-commerce companies. Awesome, man. You mean you have an agency job and you have clients, 2 e-commerce clients? And thank you, No Limit, for watching While I Got Wasted. It was a labor of love, an incredible experience. I think I posted the behind the scenes, but man, I mean, I just wrote an article for this Medium. There's a Medium magazine about for leadership and entrepreneurship, and I wrote this article about perfectionism, and I ended up talking about the movie a lot. Post college as well. Welcome to reality. Yeah, bro. I work at just. Oh, duh. It's because your name is DJ Rise that I didn't recognize you. Yeah, Jeremy. Okay. Names. Like one of the few people that my YouTube name is my actual name. Hey guys, sorry. So I just called the internet company yesterday about this. Like occasionally it will just drop out. So I am plugging in my LAN connection. Hopefully that works. Yeah, can you guys see me now? Yeah, this is really this is one of the problems. I don't know if it's just here or anywhere. Like the internet will drop for about 30 seconds randomly. So whenever the guys come to check it out, it's working fine. They can't find the problem. So I plugged into my my landline here. So yeah, man. Daniel, keep at it. Hey, Brendan. But Daniel, that's great, dude. Yeah, I mean, setting up websites. I mean, I've done that too. Setting up a good WordPress website for someone is such a deal. I mean, there's still companies out there charging $5,000 or $10,000 to do what you could do for $1,000, and it's still good profit for you. Is there anything you guys want me to talk about in particular, or any questions you want to ask me? We're booked. I haven't really talked too much about my life in Thailand. It has become, how's the weather? The weather Okay, there it went again. Connection is unstable. Do you guys see me? Sorry about that. Really, you pay for the good internet. Um, the weather here is hot and it's island weather, which is so cool because it means that it's sometimes today, like today, it's sunny and it's like just a few clouds in the sky, and then suddenly the rain will come and it will just pour for like 2 hours, and then it's sunny again. So actually, the other day I was out at a restaurant with a friend, and then I was riding back on my motorbike, and then boom, rained so hard that I was completely soaked, like I had been swimming. Favorite Thai dish? That's a tough one. I'm a big fan of the red curry. I have red curry, pineapple fried rice, pak pak ruam, which is basically just like vegetables in this nice sauce. I like pad see ew. Um, I love. I haven't had mango sticky rice in a long time. Um, chicken masaman is really good. Uh, they do really good stir fried vegetables. Oh, I love Thai food. I'm in the right country for that. Seth, I've been getting interviews, no job, but I'm working for a couple internships. That's how it starts, man. That's how it starts. Now, you can email me and say, have you been getting to the second round of the interviews? Um, and you can always send me your resume if you're in my course. I have Nick doing the spreadsheets, but I'll always look at your resume to make sure you're doing it right. Um, and the more experience you generate, the more confident you are, the easier. The biggest thing about the interviews, what I'm going to be trying to do in my new video, is help you really get comfortable answering questions quickly. You don't have to, remember, guys, when you take my course, you're not BSing people and saying that you've managed millions of dollars. You just want to be confident about the stuff you've done, and you will find the right position. Have I tried the pad Thai? Yeah, it's great. My first time in Thailand was 2017. I had come from the Philippines. And the Philippines, I liked it. I love the people there. The food is not the best. But in Thailand, the food is fantastic. Thai food and foreign food. There's really good Italian here. I've never had such good Italian food. And Thai people have learned, like, I've gone to these Thai restaurants where they serve Italian and Thai, and it's amazing. But the first night I was in Chiang Mai, I went out to a street fest, the night market, and they were selling pad Thai for like literally $1 or $2. And it was like the best pad Thai you've ever had. Tell us about this. Favorite Thai drama show? I haven't watched too much of many of the shows here, although I'm learning the language. Tell us what exactly did for your client website. Simple WordPress account. Hello, hello. And what is your name? Hello, hello. Well, if you do what's in the course on how to just build a WordPress site, you can charge for that. You just have to get comfortable, doing it. I mean, you're going to use a template. That's pretty much the thing. You're not customizing it, but there's so many templates that you could literally pick a template. And one of the most popular templates on ThemeForest is called Avada. Or there's other templates where they have what I suggest is, or something like Divi, where there's templates within the template, meaning you buy one theme and it gives you all these different. So it's like, oh, you got an electrician client, a dentist client, plumber, and then you can just customize that person's website to it. And a lot of the time, these folks don't know how WordPress works, and you build this site, it's basic, you import the demo, and there it is. Back in the day, you started with the Socrates. Yeah, I still recommend Socrates, but what I suggest is, let me see. And yeah, I mean, Socrates is still a great cheap template to do your informational website. But if you have like a client that's like a local business, I suggest using one of those ThemeForest themes because they just look nicer. What hobbies do you enjoy? Tennis. I love playing tennis. I just made a new friend here who's from America. He's from Jersey, and I met him through like a Facebook group, and we've been playing tennis once a week. I want to play more. Love tennis. Hey, Brenda. Brenda, you've been around for a while, right? Oh, you just played tennis for 3 hours today? Oh, dude, that's awesome, man. I love it. I wish I could play more often. I'm actually looking for more partners. Unfortunately, you are about 9,000 miles away. But if you want to hop over here, let's play a game. Hey, Brenda. And what other hobbies do I like? I love swimming. I go to the beach every day if I can. I just found a new beach in Bangpur that I posted about on Instagram. There was a cat there, a black cat that's really friendly. Beautiful sunsets, some nice restaurants, Thai massage, and I also like riding a mountain bike. I got a mountain bike, electric bike. That's fun. That's fun too. And then I spend a lot of my time on the computer. I play Rocket League too. If any of you guys play Rocket League, let me know. It's one video game I'm like hooked on. What do you think about Astra Pro? I like Astra. Okay, so I recommend Astra as part of the tutorial I made on building the Elementor site. But listen, when you ask me this question, what's the context? Remember, if you're building WordPress sites and in the course, the point is to practice building the site, and then you have a website available for you to practice SEO and all these other things on analytics, installing analytics, running your ads to, if you're not able to find a client site, or in addition to. It's just for practice. Remember, you don't have to make your website look incredible. But as far as getting local clients, I would say any of these WordPress themes are going to impress. So many times you go to a local business's website and it just looks terrible. And a lot of times it's built on HTML. It's old. You just put in a nice new WordPress theme like Avada. They think you're a genius. Let's see what else we got here. Favorite film director. You know, I don't have a new one. I just am a big Tarantino fan. I love listening to his interviews because I actually decided, I was like, I want to meet the guy just to talk movies because he is just such a fan. So I've listened to him on podcasts talking about times he went to see movies, and I like to do the same thing. Like he talks about seeing Aliens in the theaters in the 80s, and it's so exciting to hear talk about that because like I saw Pulp Fiction in the theater. I saw A Few Good Men in the theater. That's how old I am. I saw Jurassic Park in the theater, and I could tell you stories about those experiences, and I just love his love of cinema. So that's who I like. Yeah, good, Brenda. Yeah, you just have to stay consistent with it, and everyone has their own time pace, as I say. Intel or AMD? I think it's pretty much Intel. I actually have I was going to do a video on this. I bought, if any of you guys are interested in it, not necessary for digital marketing. I bought what is this? An Acer Predator Triton 300 laptop. This thing is amazing. It's got an NVIDIA 2060 GeForce graphic card, an Intel i7 CPU. It's great for streaming. I used it for some animation software. I can do Adobe with it. You don't need something that powerful for digital marketing, but I was thinking about getting AMD, but it just seemed like Intel was just a better processor. Hey George. And Vernon, I got some people in my time zones, like Europe and Australia. Yeah, Vernon, it's my first time doing this in a long time. Any favorite gangster movies? Yeah, I mean, Goodfellas, The Godfather. Let me think. God, I haven't watched those types of movies in a while. Donnie Brasco is really good. I can't think of anything. I was trying to think of something a little more obscure, but Casino's great. Hey, Angel, what's up, man? Yeah, I just decided to do this. Yeah, Casino's great. I mean, those are all the Scorsese movies. I'm trying to think of some other more obscure ones, but nothing's coming to mind right now. But what did somebody else ask me? Oh, new interviews of people who got jobs. Which one stood out to you recently? I mean, to me, I'm blown away by all the really young people. I mean, Christopher Reed, 20 years old, Morgan, 19, Keyshawn, 19, when he got the job. Now he's 20. I have been those three, Jeremy, you got the three guys working at Disruptive. That's amazing to me. Jeremy, Brandon, Carlos. Carlos is another one who took my course when he was like 18. I don't mean to downplay anyone who's over 20. I just think it's wonderful because I had this theory, my whole thing with Skip College for Success is like I would, they asked me in this article I wrote on perfectionism. They said, if you could like magically change the world and have like one issue change, what would it be? And some people are going to say like climate change, which actually is not a bad answer, but like, poverty, that stuff. My thing was skipping college. I think it would change the world. I think that the American economy would be helped out so much, and young people would be freed up from their burdens of student loans. So when I see young people actually doing that, skipping college, that really inspires me. So yeah, that's most recently. But I've gotten a lot of emails. I had a couple of emails from people who didn't want to share, unfortunately, because not everybody wants to be on YouTube. But I'm trying to get the post them on Instagram. This guy Trent sent me a message that was really moving to me because he was having some difficult times when he found the course, and he's done very well. Hope that. Oh, heat. Yeah, I don't say it's that's like a crime. Oh, heat is so. God. That was when, I watched some videos on YouTube of it was like Pacino and De Niro presenting at the Oscars in like 1997 or something. I was like, dude, that was when those guys were the kings. Those were good times. You think I should get my LLC? I'm not a tax professional, but I will tell you this. I never had any business entity for the first 6 years. I was doing digital marketing or selling courses. It's all, you're a sole proprietor. First of all, you got to talk to your accountant about this. But depending on what state you live in. So if you're in one of these good states, but even in Nevada, which is a business friendly state, you still have to pay. You have to pay to be an LLC every year. It's not a lot. But if you're in California, and this is a big warning bell for everyone in California, if you're going to want to be an LLC, they are just terrible. I don't know what the hell they're thinking. You got to pay $800 a year to be an LLC in California, no matter if you make money or not. So that's why I would talk to your accountant. I lived in California for 10 years. I never was an LLC until I made my movie. Then I had to form an LLC. But you don't need all that stuff. You're going to be a sole proprietor with a Schedule C, unless you incorporate or become like an S corporation, and that's when you're making more money. So yeah, I mean, listen, on paper, LLC is good, but I looked at it more like I said, I was making, $500 a month with my side business. I didn't really worry about people suing me or anything. But again, talk to your tax professional about that. What it do, bro? Oh. An average, how long does it take for your students to find a job after taking the course? I would say it's the whole process is between 1 and 6 months, the whole thing. It depends on the student. So when you say taking the course, what I would say is that's not the same as finishing the course. When I say finishing the course, that means they've gone through all the material, they've followed all the directions, which you've seen testimonials from students who were in the course. They took the course, but they didn't really follow everything I said. Once each one of those students, I can't remember his name now. I'll figure it out later, but it's the same story. Once they actually did everything that was said, it was within a couple months that they got a job. Or what I would say is you should actually quantify it more by when they're getting interviews. Because when you're in the interview process, this is where I've brought you into the promised land now. You're interviewing. And if you're getting to those second, third round interviews, that's fantastic. Then it's going to be up to you and your cultural fit. And this is like an unspoken thing with jobs and everything is that, you could have all the skills, but you've got to fit with that company. And it's a process of finding what's the right company. It's not good or bad, but you're going to gel with certain places and you're not going to gel with certain other places. But ultimately, this is let's say a 6-month process. And I say that because in some cases, people are getting jobs in, a month. But you want to be patient. I don't want, if there's some programs out there that are hyping up, you're going to get a six-figure job in 30 days. That's bullshit. If you come in being patient and persistent, you will have better results. And any results, even if it takes you 8 months, is a much shorter time period than any other career transition out there. I've never seen any other career path where you could take an online course and get a great job in another field within 6 months, 3 months, 2 months. It's normally a much more expensive and involved process. Yeah. And Jeremy, I mean, dude, it's okay. You should bomb your interviews. It's how you learn. And you've never done one, and it depends on your personality. Hey, Nick, good to see you. Depends on your personality. I was going to tell you guys this story too, which I may put in another video. My very first job interview for digital marketing, I actually got the job. And it was the one where I was already working as a telemarketer. And I had no idea these jobs even existed. I had no idea anything except what I'd learned by myself. But here's one of the things that helped me get the job. And I don't recommend it, but it speaks to people's nerves. On my way to the job interview, I remember I was so nervous and I was so excited and I so wanted this job because I was working this terrible telemarketing job. I got into a car accident, a collision, if you can believe it. I was so nervous. I believe this type of thing. I was putting out that nervous energy and I wasn't paying attention, and I crashed into this car. And I remember actually the driver, it was like one of these pickup trucks, and the dude was, I'm sure, I don't think it was an old rickety pickup truck. And the guy actually sued my insurance company because I think they thought I had money. And I was like driving a beaten up Honda Accord. For some reason, they like tried to get money from my insurance company. I was like, dude, it was a little fender bender. But anyway, it threw me off, right? But because I had this sort of little mini trauma, and then I was racing to get to the interview on time, all my nerves had been just spent. They had just been spent. All the nervous energy was gone because I was exhausted. I was tired. I had already freaked out about getting to the interview on time. So for whatever reason, when they started talking about digital marketing, I didn't have any more nerves. Now, I don't suggest anybody get into that kind of situation for their job interview. But what I learned is like your nerves really affect. Oh, I've never spoken about this. I love this. Quinn Raphael Yeo. Any difference between on buoy course? I don't speak about this because I don't like to get into any kind of a YouTube thing, but this individual, who I will not name again, this individual was a student of mine. He was a testimonial of mine. He actually uses he alludes to me in his presentation. I taught this individual. And then this individual turned around and made his own very similar, shall we say, course. So that's all I'm going to say about it, guys. I could make a very in-depth video about this, but I've chosen to just focus on what I'm doing and not really pay any attention to that. What I will say is that I would look at the testimonials of my program versus his or any other programs. I would also look at the time frames that I talk about. I talk about realistic time frames that have been proven over 5 years and thousands of people, okay, which is working to get to your entry-level job, working your way from 30 or 40,000 to 60,000 within a year, and then within 2 to 3 years getting up to 80, 90, 100,000. Anybody who's telling you that you're going to make a ton of money in 30 days working like 5 hours a week it's just not accurate. It's not accurate. And you can research it. You can talk to professionals in the industry. Ask any working professional in digital marketing, hey, did you ever make $90,000 a year within 30 days making, working 5 hours a week? No, you're not going to find anyone like that. In fact, this individual, if you read the fine print at the bottom of his website, he will say, these are not typical examples. It's, everything we've done is based on years of hard work. And you really need to read the fine print. The other thing I would say in general is that when you are purchasing any online course, and I haven't made a full video about this, when you're purchasing any online course, and you see a timer, stop and take a deep breath, because timers in online marketing or any course online, timers are usually bullshit. Okay. They are a psychological mechanism used to inspire people to purchase for the fear of missing out, FOMO. And what I would say is that if you ever run into any product by anybody online selling a course or selling any product and you see a timer, you should not feel pressured. You shouldn't make your buying decision based on your worry of missing out on some kind of timer deal. You should make sure you're doing your due diligence and do all your research and enter that product or that program when you feel that you're ready. That's all I'm going to say about that. CoffeeZilla. Yeah, I don't really know that much about him. Yeah. Let's see. Procrastinator, 3 to 8 months, live streaming. Yeah. Thanks, Jeremy. Woo! Well, I've been talking for 30 minutes. Anybody have any other questions? Did I answer you guys' questions pretty well? Can you make a long-term living freelancing and digital marketing? Of course. Of course. And I have students that are doing that. I mean, the difference, this is the big difference, guys, is that if you're going to freelance, you're working for yourself, essentially. You have to get your own clients at that point. If you work at an agency, the trade-off is they have gotten the clients. You don't have to do any selling. You don't have to retain anybody except by doing a good job. When you're freelancing, you have to, you have to find the clients and, basically inspire them to want to work with you and then retain them. I will tell you this. Here's one of the simplest ways you can retain your clients. And I know this having hired people. Communication. One of the biggest problems people have with freelancers is that they're not available. So sometimes, like even when I've hired someone to help me with something, I'm not expecting miracle results, but I am expecting the person I hired to be available to me, to communicate with me about what's happening. So that's a simple tip right there. I'm from Singapore. Is this course suitable for me in terms of looking for great? Yeah, absolutely, man. Singapore, Singapore is like a Western type country in the middle of Southeast. I've been to Singapore. I'm actually only a few hundred miles from Singapore because I'm in the islands in Thailand. Absolutely, man. You definitely can apply everything in the course. I had a girl in Hong Kong recently get a job. I'm actually trying to get an interview going with her. There's lots of jobs in Singapore, but even if there weren't, you can do tons of freelance work. You guys, I know I've been there. You guys are a smart bunch. Yeah, man. If you haven't, go to digitalcareerblueprint.com and sign up for the webinar to get all the information about the course. You can check out the this YouTube channel for testimonials, and you can always email me with questions. Thanks, Vernon. I appreciate that. I will say this about that individual who I will not name again, who made a similar course. It inspired me to really continue to make my course just the best. I mean, the Facebook group, the coaching calls, the community. I've been very, very happy with what I'm able to provide people, and I'm going to continue to do that. Yeah, you should. I mean, if you're in the course, C&J, did you ask that question? Yeah, I suggest, you want to start out, I even say in the course, you want to get your own clients, even if you're working for free in the beginning, because you want to just get practice. Do measure your retention. Absolutely. Yeah, what I'm saying, I'm not saying that when you work at an agency, you can just sit back and relax. They want you to perform, but with freelancing, you have to be the salesman. But like I teach in the course, I think freelancing and digital marketing is like the easiest of any other field, in my opinion, because like I've seen people try to like get personal training clients or graphic design clients. I'm like, digital marketing is something that every business needs. It's just a matter of who they're going to hire to do it. And as a freelancer needs to be realistic about expectations. That's another thing too. And like Henry is one of my students in Canada, who I think if you can look at his interview, where it's like, student makes $6,000 a month or $5,000 a month freelancing. He's like in his 20s. What was I going to say? Yeah, it's better to underpromise and overdeliver. By the way, guys, that's really good in life. That's another reason with my course. I think that's one of the reasons it's been around for 5 years, because I've seen like certain other individuals, again, they will use hype. Listen, hype works. Hype works. Like, I wish it didn't, but it does. Like, if I come up, say to somebody you're going to make $10,000 in 30 days, or something like that, no matter how intelligent you are, you're going to get curious if you want to make money. And you can use hype to sell, and people will buy, absolutely. But you're probably going to have then you're going to then have to deal with the delivery and the follow through and the customer support and the satisfaction. And one of the things with my course is, I've like always said like 60K in a year, which is just been proven again and again. I'll never say you're going to make 100K in 2 months or something like that, because as you've seen, it was all based on my experience. I made 60K in a year. I made 100K in 3 years. My students have done the same thing. So it's like a provable thing. And it's not as sexy, right? It's not as sexy as like, you're going to make 10K in 30 days. But it's more sustainable. So when you have clients, it's really good to be a little bit, I'm not going to say negative, but like, I think Henry even talked about that. You want to kind of really like, you don't want to say like, hey, I'm going to grow your revenue by 10% in 3 months. That's, whoa, you just set yourself this crazy thing. You could be like, if you think you can increase, say, traffic by 5%, then you should say, I'm going to increase it by 2.5%. And then if you over deliver, they're going to be blown away. If you hit the mark that you give them, they're going to be okay. And then if you don't hit that mark, well, then you didn't deliver. But if you say, I'm going to grow your business by 10%, and then you only grow it by 2 or 5, then they're going to be disappointed. Most clients, I think I put this in the course, some sample contracts. I would look at them. I would look at those types of contracts. It's not exactly a waiver. It's basically like an agreement of understanding between the two parties. And again, I'm not a legal professional, but go into the course and look under the freelancing section for some of those contracts. Bribe powered. Creative Circle. Okay, so I'm glad you asked that, Brian. Or I don't know if your name is Brian. Bribe powered. Creative Circle is a employment agency. So I love employment agencies. I got my first 6-figure job through Cybercoders, which is a employment agency / recruiting company. Remember, Creative Circle, I definitely recommend, because the deal is they're not hiring to work for Creative Circle. They have a client somewhere that has come to them and said, hey, we need a digital marketer. Now, the great thing about Creative Circle is they will advocate for you or any other employment agency. You come to them with your resume and everything you've learned in my course, and you're like, hey, listen, I know how to do PPC, SEO, and this blah, blah, blah. They're going to be excited to talk to you, and they're going to be like, hey, I'm going to try to help you get this job. But first of all, they're going to keep you in mind for other jobs. The other thing is they're going to help position you. And why is that? Because if you get hired, they get paid. Most people don't even know this, but this is how recruiters make money. Like I got hired. This is going to sound, this is crazy why these recruiters are so aggressive. I got hired for $75,000 a year salary. And I am sure that the company, Cybercoders, they get either between 10 and 30% of the first year's salary, meaning every time they place someone, they can make anywhere from like $7,000 to $15,000 or more. So when it comes to Creative Circle, like they're going to be your best friend because they want you to get hired so they can get paid. Let's see. Let's see. Hold on a second, guys. I'm going to get some water. I'll be right back. This is fun to just talk, but got to rest the old vocal cords here. Yeah, perfection equals poverty. Freelancer. Best freelance service is lead gen. Lead generation is fantastic. That's where you run Facebook and Google ads to like a landing page, and you're able to, you can sell those leads to like Jeremy said, SEO companies. Africa, I get a lot of people coming to me from different parts of the world. I mean, Africa itself, I don't have any firsthand experience. I just know that you have to look at the GDPs of various economies. So Africa is not a place, most of the wealth in the world is concentrated in Western countries. So the job markets in Africa there's just not as many jobs. I haven't actually looked to see how many jobs there may or may not be. People have to be doing business in a particular country for there to be these jobs. What I normally suggest for people who are in Africa or India or countries or even Southeast Asia for the most part, other than Malaysia, which Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong tend to have jobs, is freelance. If you speak English properly, if you have these skills, freelance for Western companies. That's what yes, I'm in Thailand where it is 1 p.m. Aside from, I will just say I'm on an island. I don't like to get I think I've mentioned it in some other videos, but I would say I'm on an island. I don't like to get too specific. If I was in Bangkok, I would say Bangkok because it's very big, but this is a pretty small island in the south. Yeah, man. Feel free to shoot me an email. I'll probably do some more videos about what it's like living here. I just didn't want to give away too much. I had a little bit of trolling recently. It's not pleasant. You realize that being in public, and I have a very small public footprint, but I was like, ugh, I don't like this. I don't want to get too personal. I'm from India. My English speaking is not good. Can I get a job in USA, UK? I mean, you have to be able to speak the language. Okay, so depending on which digital marketing job you're going for, some jobs are very technical. You spend most of your time at the computer typing emails. I would say this: if your English speaking isn't that good, use Grammarly when you communicate in a written way with people. Make sure your emails are you have proper spelling and proper punctuation. But also, you're not going to get a job. This is what I tell people. It's if you live in a foreign country, you have to deal with the labor laws. And if in the United States and in the UK and most of these countries, you have to be a US citizen or have some kind of work visa or work permit to work as an employee in that country. Which is why when people write to me from Africa, India, et cetera, say, can I get one of these jobs from the US? I have to say, unfortunately, no, because it's illegal. But some companies, like there's a kid in Vietnam right now who is freelancing, or actually, I don't know, he might have actually been hired as an employee, but they're paying him less because he's in Vietnam for a UK company. So there is a chance you could freelance for the company. But if you go on Upwork or Fiverr, it's very common to be able to get hired by Western companies as a freelancer. Freelancing means you are not an employee. You have a contract relationship. Like they're going to hire you to do a job, and it's all very much at will. They're not paying. See, when someone hires you as an employee, guys, which I hope you will understand someday when you are hiring people, it is an incredible financial investment to hire an employee. You have to pay their taxes. You have to pay for insurance if it's a European country. There's a lot of expenses, and you can't even legally do it for someone who isn't a U.S. citizen. However, I've seen people like I got one student who was working for an Australian company, and he's based in the U.S. I had a student in Austria who is working for U.S. companies, but it's usually a freelance arrangement. Since inflation has been on the rise, I've seen salaries going up all the time in this field, man. I mean, we're ahead of the curve. People are, said the fact that 20, 19-year-olds are getting offered $50K a year entry-level jobs is amazing. So I think that absolutely it's very competitive. I say it's not a competitive field. What am I trying to say? It's a field where you have leverage as an employee, which is very rare. Most fields, you're still going to be like, what's been kind of cool is because people aren't applying for jobs now, like restaurant jobs are paying a little bit more. That's capitalism. That's supply and demand. Finally, these guys have been underpaying people are like, well, if we pay people, they're not taking our shitty jobs, we'll pay them a little more. In digital marketing, there's still this, I got to do another video because I don't know if LinkedIn's algorithm changed. When I search now, there's 218,000 open jobs in the US. It was 105 a week ago. There's so many jobs that you have much more leverage. So yeah, these things are going to keep going. I don't think it's going to be like, I just think everything's continuing to go up. Paid marketing, no worries. I teach English. Hit the like button. Sure, hit the like button, guys. Remember, I haven't done one of these. I don't even know what I'm doing. Let's see what else we got here. If you know, I was going to say just to Chandra, I'm sorry, dude, I'm going to mispronounce your name, from India. If you know how to do PPC, if you have experience and you've been able to help people make more money, you should be able to get work. Get on Upwork, get on Fiverr. Companies will want to, that's the whole thing. It's like they don't really care where you're based on if they're hiring a freelancer. I'm just telling you about the legal complications that an American company has in terms of hiring a non-citizen as an employee. Bay Area. Yeah, Bay Area is funky. I've had students live there. It's like, well, I guess if you own your own apartment, also, I think like Oakland versus downtown can definitely be tough. Yeah, I would say, the salaries in San Francisco, like I think one of my students just got a 6-figure job offer there, and she was making like 55 in her current job, and it went up to like 6 figures because it's San Francisco. Thanks, GD. I appreciate that. Hey, Hannah. I'm good, thanks. I'm good. What else can I talk about? Yeah, you guys can feel free to fire the questions here. I think I'm going to I'm gonna be like Aaron Clary at some point and make like you pay, like, if you guys have specific questions, I'll charge like a few bucks for it, but for now you can just ask me. Any ideas for a service to offer? GD, are you in my course? Because, well, I could give you ideas outside of digital marketing. I can't really speak to pricing. On Fiverr, you just got to research. I'll tell you this. I have a friend here who I was thinking about. I was like, she speaks Thai and English. And I was like, well, what about, she could go on Fiverr and offer Thai to English translation. So I started researching. So, well, what are the most popular gigs charging, and match that or make it a little less. Yeah, you need to come back, man. That's it for most people. You just got to follow. Listen, guys, following directions is a talent. I didn't have that when I was younger. If you just follow all the instructions in the course, you'll start getting interviews. Is the voice search going anywhere? I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's probably going to get more. It seems like that's where these tech companies are putting a lot of their money and their energy. Is there an example of an online portfolio in the course? Well, that's a little bit of a misconception. I would rewatch my webinar. I teach you exactly how to put together your resume and the projects that you can put in your applications that will get you the interview. You could call that a portfolio, but it's not exactly what people think of as a portfolio. I give people specific projects that communicate to hiring managers that you know how to do the job. So for the spirit of your question, the answer is yes. I get stuck on getting my own experience. Yeah, man. Yeah, you just got to get that experience. Remember, guys, if you're watching this, whether you're in my course or you're not, I use Cayenne as an example. Nick, when I got my first job, I had never had a client. I had only worked on my own websites. Do you think brick and mortar colleges will eventually dissolve financially? It's going to take a long time, man. Like, I've studied this so much. Here's like my thoughts. Like, I think it was in the 60s when people started to postulate the idea that nutrition, like, and diet and exercise had something to do with your health. But it took the medical establishment like 20 or 30 years to accept that. People take decades to understand some of these fundamental stupid ideas, It's like you still had people in the 60s who were like, doctors were like, oh, what you eat doesn't matter. Exercise doesn't matter. So I don't know. I think it was like the 90s when college costs started hyperinflating. which actually that's what college costs are. It's hyperinflation. Somebody pointed that out. I was like, that's true. That's actual hyperinflation. What we're seeing now is like normal inflation, but it's also last year there was deflation, so it's not even that crazy. College, that's hyperinflation. That's like a $5,000 product now costs $50,000. That's crazy. And for whatever reason, I believe it has to do with beliefs and emotional indoctrination. The general population still has a belief that this is a valuable investment. And I don't know at what point, I'm old enough to remember when gas was like 75 cents a gallon. Then it went up to like $2 after the Gulf War. I mean, everyone freaked the fuck out for like a year. And then people were, oh, yeah, now it's $3 a gallon, which is still cheap compared to other countries. So with college, I don't know at what point, like NYU is charging $60,000 a year. It is criminal. It is crazy. And these families are doing it. They're paying this bullshit. So I don't know what it would take. I don't have a number. Like, I just don't get, like, I think, I mean, if it goes over 100,000 a year, maybe. Let's see. If you're servicing to a client. Lead gen is a really good business model. Or what are you saying? Lead gen. Do you mean like having a client? Yeah, I mean, most of your clients, that's what you're going to be providing them if you're doing paid search, just leads. Or if you're doing e-commerce, it'll be sales. So, but I will agree with you that when you're looking for clients, okay, when you're looking for your first paid clients, free clients, work with anyone that has a good attitude and an actual business and is willing to put some money into Google Ads. When you're going to get paid, you have to vet your clients. Don't work with cheapskates. Cheap skates. Don't work with people who are cheap. If someone's giving you trouble about spending $300 to $500 a month on AdWords, it's going to be too much of a pain in the ass. Actually, the people that are willing to spend more money are much better clients. Your cost rocks at work. Thanks, Marvin. Feel free to message me if you have a story or something like that. How do you think digital marketing jobs changed since you first got a job almost a decade ago? I knew about the field back then, but no clue the jobs. Honestly, man, a lot of it is the same. Oh, you hear that? That's my neighbor. He bought like a drag racing drift car. I was like, what is that sound? A lot of them are the same. Obviously, digital marketing has changed in many ways. There's so many more features. There's different platforms. It's like there's different reporting software. But that's why the fundamental strategy of what I'm teaching, like, there's still the majority of businesses in the U.S. are small businesses, medium-sized businesses, and they need people to properly structure their accounts. So I wouldn't say it's like the industry has changed, but it's not like some fields where it's like totally, it's not like night and day than what it used to be. My mother went to college for free. Yep. Tuition hikes. But it's crazy is even my mom, like I joke about this, like my mom read my book, Skip College for Success. And we used to fight about this. I used to fight with my mom. Like I was like, I like to fight, right? And she's real argumentative. She read my book, and I was very pleased that she actually liked the book. She enjoyed the book. She acknowledged me. She said, everything you said in there makes sense. I was very impressed. I was so touched that she said that. And then she said, but I still think all kids should go to college. And I said, that's the belief. You're dealing with a belief. It's a religion. And one of the reasons I don't argue with anyone about it anymore, I just sort of try to speak to the young people who are looking for an adult who has some practical advice. I don't argue because it's like arguing religion. Once somebody believes in higher education, they won't look at any numbers for the most part. Yeah, in Canada. Yeah, the U.S. is, we got healthcare is also very expensive here. Is it possible for me to start freelance when I'm still 17? Absolutely. In fact, guys, I'm going to have an interview with James at some point. James, if you guys are in the course, James Kang, lives in Australia. He's 15. And he's already getting job interviews. So I asked him, I said, dude, are you like, what? I'm surprised by this. I'm like, dude, you're 15. He said, well, in Australia, no, you can't work at 15. We said, but when you're 17, you can work a certain number of hours. and he's homeschooled. So he's talking to employers right now. He has an interview. I'm like so blown away by this kid, but he also he's gotten his first client. So when you're 17, you should be able to get your own clients. The legalities of like a freelance contract, I can't really advise you on, but I know people who are under 18 who have gotten clients. I mean, it's usually like, hey, it could be a family friend or it could be somebody you just met. But all that really matters is that you can deliver value. I went to community college and thought it was expensive. Yeah. Yeah, he's 15, man. It's awesome. What was you doing? Like, well, here's the thing. I think I take it easy on myself. You think when I was 15, guys, just to give you some perspective, I was going to do a whole video on this, on how old I mean, I don't feel old, but I mean, I grew up in the 90s. So now it seems like so long ago. And I was 15 was, God, was that like 90? I have to do some math here. Holy cow. Let me see. 1993. I was a freshman. There was no internet, guys. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe AOL. There was no internet, man. So you guys have so many resources. I had to go to the library to look up shit, and you'd find a book from 1968. You guys have Google. So all these jobs, all these platforms like Fiverr didn't exist. I mean, there's no way to get a client who wasn't in your immediate area. So when I see someone like James, I'm inspired and I'm like, this is how it should be. He's 15. This is the age to start. You were born. No, you were born in the 90s. I was born in the 70s. It's crazy. I mean, the late 70s. I think I've been around for 5 decades. Can you believe that? 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and the 10s. And the 20s. Actually, I'm 6 decades. I'm a teacher. When I took your course, I was a high school teacher. I teach English in college overseas. That's good, man. Where do you live that you're traveling and teaching English? Yeah. 70s babies in the house. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, man. I mean, it just pains me. I mean, I spent 10 years in that, like, it's also if you did well in school and then you end up working at Home Depot or waiting tables like I did, you really start to think like, what did I do wrong? I felt like I must have missed something. Taking that anthropology class should have gotten me a really good job. And it's just because you weren't taught properly. I should email you. I mentioned to you in an email that there's also an opportunity for digital marketing for Shopify store owners. Absolutely. Oh yeah. I mean, so many people open. I actually looked at God, what was it called? There's a lot of these e-commerce platforms, and Shopify is a $1 billion company, and it's got a great premise, right? You're like, I can open up my own online store, and people get excited, and maybe they find a drop shipper, and they never think about, how do I get traffic? So if you can do Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, SEO, absolutely. Thanks, Tasha. I've never done one of these before. Well, this is great. 59 minutes of talking, which is also very helpful because I think somebody asked me that a while back. Let me see, about coming to a foreign country by myself. Let me see. Hold on a second. Check out my later. Oh, I'm going back in the comments. So Vernon said, some people want to share. Actually, no, it's interesting. Vernon mentioned probation. I've actually had a bunch of students who tell me, hey, look, I'm on probation, my probationary period. Let's do an interview afterwards. But no, there's just some individuals, and I respect that. They're private. They don't want their information on Instagram and stuff. Also, I do think people think I have a wider reach, which I should, but I don't. They think I'm like Gary V or something. I'm like, nah, man, no one's gonna see this. Like a few hundred or a few thousand people. As I'm being a little too humble. I mean, it's thousands of people, but it's not like Gary V level. Let's see. somebody asked me about moving to a new country because it. Hold on a second. Oh, how did you have the guts to move to a new country? Yeah. Well, I'll tell you. You asked me, Jeremy, moving to a foreign country. Well, the first thing was I actually had a girlfriend I came back to see. Actually, I didn't have the guts 100% to really come here by myself. The first time I came here was with Matt. So I really needed a friend. I've moved to other states by myself, no problem. But I was scared to come to Asia. I'd never been here. So when I did, I been to Asia. I was coming back. I had a girlfriend at the time, and then well, I never really planned on moving here. I wanted to stay here and move around, but then COVID happened. So it was kind of a forced decision to stay. But I'm happy I did because at least you asked, like, I don't really have plans to come back to the US. I would love to visit next year. Hopefully things are a little more under control at that time. Um, but I love it here and I've been making more friends and meeting more people. I'm learning Thai. I've been meeting people that speak English. I think it takes whenever you move to a new city, and I do recommend this, guys. Like I just talked to there's a guy, actually his name is Thai. I just posted his testimonial. He moved from Maryland to Idaho for an agency job. And I was like, that's so exciting. Moving to a new city is so exciting, and it can take a few months to get comfortable, but it's worth it. Having a history degree just made me an interesting server. Yeah, man. When I worked at Applebee's or Red Lobster, I knew people in getting their masters. What is PPC? Is it a drug? It does sound like PCP. Actually, I've had people say that. You do PCP? Like, no, PPC. Is it best to focus on one specialized area? Yeah, I mean, look, I think when it comes to these digital marketing skills, the way I teach it in the course, guys, is that you should. I don't want you to be a jack of all trades, but I want you to know a little bit about each thing because it's going to be helpful, especially if you're like an agency. Let's say you're on a PPC team, but you need to talk to the SEO team. Let's say there's content issue like with the landing page, and you're like, hey guys, our ads are saying this and it's not congruent with that. You just need to know the language of the other things, but I would pick one to focus on. Yeah. Accounting or digital, dude, I'm all about digital marketing, but they're both really good. Accounting is one of the skill sets that will always be in demand. I think Aaron talks about that. There's a guy that runs this. I actually am affiliate for him called the Bookkeeping Business Launch, which is bookkeeping, which is different than accounting. Um, Accounting can mean a lot of different things. It can mean tax preparation. It can mean, doing the books for a company. But accounting is a very stable skill set. I don't think it's as interesting. If you love numbers and you love, like, yeah, if you love numbers, accounting for you. Digital marketing is, I think, more creative, more interesting, more options. Um, it's a field now that's much more remote. There's a lot more flexibility. There's really good work-life balance. Um, but I mean, I think it more depends on your personality. But bookkeeping is something I recommend because you don't need a degree for it, and everybody needs it. I learned this because I didn't have. I always did my taxes myself. And after my business grew to even just a little bit, I hire someone. It's so much easier. Every business needs accountants. I love history. Yeah. Marvin, Jeremy, don't you have a history degree too? You should jump in there. uh, yeah. History. This is the thing, guys. I learned more about history as an adult watching documentaries and reading books. In school, it's just like I believe history. You should learn history up to about 8th grade, maybe ninth grade. But then the way they teach it is just not efficient. I mean, they're just teaching you like dates, and there's no context. I would teach, like, now I get context when I see about imperialism or I see about wars. I have a context as an adult to understand and appreciate it. I see the similarities between like Vietnam and the Iraq War and America doing its thing, and civil rights movement from the 60s through the 80s through now. Um, Being in Southeast Asia, I'm actually in the place where a lot of these, I'm in the region where a lot of these wars happened, and the West came in and fucked up this region a lot. But when you're in high school, they're just cramming shit down your throat for the purposes of you scoring well on tests to get into college, to learn more of this stuff. And there's no context. You can learn history now on the internet so much easier than in a class. And you don't have to, and you, what do you do? And this is the thing, when you go to college, you have to buy these fucking expensive ass textbooks that you don't know who even wrote them. When you learn something on the internet, you can at least vet who you're learning from. I got to take a little break here, man. I've been talking. I don't know how some of these like podcasters do it. Do you still pay a petition? Yeah, you know, someone asked me about Focus at Will. It's called Focus at Will. Hey, I'm an affiliate with them. If you want to sign up for them, shoot me an email. I'll send you my affiliate link. I don't sell many because I don't really promote it, but I do use it. Honestly, I go back and forth between YouTube and I listen to like techno music. I like the Fat Rat. I like Avicii. But when I put on the Focus at Will, I honestly can focus better. I don't know why. Yeah, there's no context. Ashley. Ashley, do you mean the artist Ashley? I'm gonna I think she's moving jobs now. Which happens, by the way. The great thing about digital marketing is when you hear someone is changing jobs or they quit a job, it's never bad. I would say even if you get fired, which isn't that, but it happens. It's a field where there's so many jobs. It's just you move on to the next one. And it's so common to have gaps in your resume or short tenures at places. Nobody's going to say, oh, you only spent 3 months at this agency. Why was that? They're not going to like discount you. You're going to say something like, oh, yeah, I moved on to a better position. Simple history on YouTube. Absolutely. I mean, geez, even Wikipedia, man. I mean, seriously, like I think of my U.S. history, like American history textbook. I love studying American history. I love studying now world history because I think in each country each country is very centric on its own country. I have a friend, she lives in France, or she lives in Germany, but she's from France, and we talk about this. She knows everything about French history, and she knows a lot about German history and European history, and not as much about American history. Whereas in America, we know a lot about American history. I was watching this, by the way, this documentary on ZZ Top, which is an amazing band, one of my favorite bands from literally these guys are like been together 50 years. Great documentary. And they were saying how in Texas, you study Texas history before you study U.S. history, which makes a lot of sense. If you know anyone from Texas. So I guess the point is just study the things that interest you. Sometimes in college, we had to buy the textbooks our professor wrote. Yeah. And you're paying more for those textbooks than like my course. It's like $1,200 or $1,500 a year at colleges for these bullshit textbooks, man. Ashley from Atlanta. Oh, that Ashley. You know what? I need to follow up with her. We met up in Atlanta a couple years ago, and I know that it's been a while. I have so many students. I'll be like mention people, and I'll be like, oh my god. But yeah, But what was I going to say? I think recently I did talk to some people like Rusha who did a career pivot, which I don't know if that's something that would interest you because I guess it is most of the people in their 20s. Look at the most recent video, the interview with the 3 students at Disruptive, because I got Carlos, Jeremy, and Brandon. Brandon's 38, and he has a family, so he's a little bit on the older side. I recommend a music group called White Moth Black Butterfly. All right, I'll take a look. I did not watch the Chernobyl series because I go through these periods where I watch lots of really dark stuff, like World War II dramas, and I have to balance it out. And I remember I was like, I can't really handle Chernobyl right now, man. I can't handle radiation. I need something positive in my life. So maybe I'll go back to it someday. You all may go to hell and I'll go to Texas. Funny. It's 2 a.m. in Chicago. Welcome, man. I know. It's 2 p.m. here. Nice to see you too. A-Track. All right. I probably got another 10 minutes in me. Then I'm going to mosey on out. What's my favorite movie genre? Oh, that's tough, man. I love I love movies. I'm a comedy lover. Uh, hey Zenlong, good to see you too, man. I'm glad you love the course. I love I love all movies, man. I mean, when I went to film school, that was the one good thing I got out of film school, because in film school you had your film production students and then your film studies, which were usually the people that couldn't cut it in film production. And the film studies were like film critics, and they would just criticize everything. And instead of becoming a snob in film school, I started appreciating all movies. That's why I like Tarantino, because he's a fan. He loves, he'll talk about how he feels flattered that like Kung Fu Panda used Kill Bill references. He loves cartoons and comedies and dramas and action, and I love them all, man. I think ask me that next time when my head's I'm a little worn out. I like Guy Ritchie. Guy Ritchie and Tarantino both were trained by Dov Siemens, who does this 2-day film school. I love this guy. He's an Israeli guy, an American Israeli guy. And he's the one who inspired me to make my film course, because he's the one who's talking about how film school is a waste of time and short films are a waste of time. But I've only seen a couple of Guy's films. I like Snatch. I don't remember really liking Lock, Stock. Also, I know when some of his movies, he's got the Brits with the real thick accents, and sometimes I had to turn on the subtitles. I may do another live soon. I didn't know all these people were going to show up, so it's kind of fun. Let's see. Think of the rise of comic book movies. Big think. Actually, my graphic novel is a spin on this whole thing. Again, I kind of want to wait till I've done it or it's in process, because there's so many riffs on this genre. No, I think I watched the whole comic book movie progression from Blade, Blade was like the original comic book movie with Wesley Snipes. I think came out in the 90s. It was so much better than any other comic book movie. They didn't have any you couldn't do many special effects. Just a lot of good combat, editing, storyline. Then the Spider-Man movies, I was just rewatching that with Tobey Maguire, and then X-Men, and then now. So one of the interesting things about Deadpool, that I love Deadpool. I just loved it. I saw that in the theaters and laughed so hard. That's something I missed. Somebody asked me about America. Hey, I have that here too, but I miss being in a crowded theater. The theaters here still aren't open. Laughing with an audience. But Deadpool would not have worked. That's what's interesting. It took them like 10 years to make it, because I think initially the idea of the script was like 2008 or 2011. It's good that it took them all that time to make Deadpool, because it wouldn't have been as funny in 2008, because there's comic book movies were still kind of new. Now they've been played out, and actually kind of make fun of that in my little graphic novel I'm making. It's like, dude, it's so boring to have aliens attacking and like light beams and shit. So I think some of the more recent ones have gotten wise to that. Black Widow, Suicide Squad, they're kind of riffing on that. They're bringing a lot more humor into these movies. Positive thing about his college experience. Absolutely. I'll tell you this, guys. I love college my first year, but it was mostly because I was in New York City by myself, away from my parents. I mean, you got to think about it. I was in a dorm room in Greenwich Village with like hundreds and thousands of other young 18-year-olds. I had a girlfriend and things were going well. Maybe I'll see here if I'm going to alienate anybody, but shit, I can't do it yet. Maybe another time. I don't want to say anything that's a little too risque here, but there's so many aspects of college that have nothing to do with the tuition. It's like, that's what I think is so sad. It's like you're paying all this money to basically make friends and get away from your parents and have sex and party. That's what I was going to say. I called it, I said, like, I got my first blowjob when I was a freshman, and I call it $100,000 blowjob, because I was like, this is what people are paying for in college, really, is to get away from their parents, party with people their age, and have sex. That's it. So I hope I didn't alienate. I would like, I've been I'm pretty clean on my channel, but I've been trying to branch out for a while. But I thought that was just funny, because it's the truth. People are in college for that reason. And it's a good reason. Being in New York City at age 18 in the late 90s, the freedom to wake up and go to bed when I wanted. It was awesome. But now I don't think you should have to pay all that money to make friends and get laid and party. Keeping 100%. Yeah. Uh, Suicide Squad 2. Yeah, I haven't, oh God, and being away from the US, I missed out on some of these, recent releases. I think I could watch some of them online, but the main thing I miss about the US, honestly, I will say that, I mean, there is when I first came back to the US from Asia the first time, I had spent 6 months in Asia. And one of the first things I noticed was that I was on a plane from Maui to San Jose, and everyone spoke American English. And I hadn't been in an environment where everyone was speaking American English. And it was literally like a spiritual, I almost started crying because I had been around for 6 months. I had been around just people speaking all different kinds of English. British English, French English, German English, Thai English, Malaysian English. I remember in Malaysia in particular is where the English was really hard to understand. And I can still understand it. But hearing your own countrymen speak English, I didn't expect to have that reaction. I just listened to all the conversation, no matter what people were talking about. And I was just fascinated and I was just loving it. People were talking about their hotels or traffic. I didn't care. My ears just tuned into it. And it was just like, it was really cool. I liked it. I felt like I was back home. I think the impact of your home country and your homeland, your mother tongue, the reason they call it your mother tongue is it's true. It's like there's a real strong bond. So just being back in the US initially felt really good. But after, I mean, for me, after like a month or two, I was kind of tired of it and I was ready to travel again. One thing I miss going to the movies, but one of the things I do miss about American movie theaters is that in Asia, they do not put butter on the popcorn. I don't know why. They will salt it. They will put caramel and other weird flavors on it, but they will not put butter. In fact, I went up to the person in Chiang Mai. I said, "Hey, do you have butter?" And they just looked at me like I was crazy. One thing I will say about Thailand is that they have a website called Lazada. Lazada is like Amazon, and it's great. It is. There's no Prime, but yeah, I mean, you order stuff, you get it within a few days. It's really good. It's really good. And I personally, I love the fact that I haven't given Amazon any money for a year. Because everybody complains about Amazon. I have very mixed feelings. I feel like Amazon has way too much power, but we gave it that power because they do such a good job. Like if they weren't so damn convenient, people wouldn't use them. But I'd say if you have any moral, ethical, social issue with Amazon, don't use them. Use Overstock or some other thing. Get a butter spray bottle. Yeah, right. I could get microwave popcorn, but it's not the same as the movie theater popcorn butter either, because that's not even real butter. It goes to his head. He's talking to his language. It goes. I will say this, guys. I'll say this about Thailand because I've lived here. I've lived here for a year and a half. I'm gonna be here, and this is my favorite country in. I love the people. I love the food. I love the environment, the nature here. I mean, there's a lot of expats here. I think they're kind of dicks because they don't really, they're kind of disrespectful. I had some visa miscommunication. Okay. Sorry about that. One of the things I realized now, I had heard from other expats, some people were telling me they were talking about Vietnam and Thailand, and people were saying, well, Vietnamese people are nicer than Thai people. And I think that's not fair. What I found is that with Thai people, first of all, I found Thai people who are very friendly to me if I'm friendly to them. I've had a lot of local people, they're very nice to me. I mean, even the staff here invited me to parties and stuff. And I've asked, like, does anyone speak English? And the guy doesn't speak it. He invited me in Thai. I used a translator, and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna, like. I guess I could go, but it'd be a little awkward. But if I speak a little bit of Thai, it's true. The whole vibe changes. People warm up, they open up. I think they're just, people are. It's difficult too, unless the person has a really good command of English. They feel a little bit withdrawn. I do not miss snow. I am not a snow person at all. I'm very skinny. I like the heat. Uh, Absolutely not. I do not miss the snow. I kind of want to snowboard, but I wish I could just like go snowboarding for an afternoon and then come back. When am I going to be fluent in Thai? It'll be a while. I actually just rescheduled a new lesson. I was taking it very seriously for like 3 weeks. Then something happened with my business. I had to focus on that. But I can count to 10. I can read some of the language. I know how to say basic sentences now. Let's see. So to count to 10 in Thai, it's Nung Song Sam Sib Ha Hok Jet Bet Gao Sib. And you have to have the tones right. Now, the interesting thing about Thai is that like the tones are so, this is why a lot of Westerners don't even try because the tones are very difficult. So like if you say the word suwai, kun suwai, it's like you're pretty. So I learned to say that. That's very good when you're dating. Suwai. Or narak is cute, but suwai. But if you say suwai, that means unlucky. So if you use the wrong tone, there's actually one thing I can't remember exactly. One of my Thai teacher was telling me like the words for vegetable and fuck you are very similar. So I have to make a joke about that at some point. How many tones? Thank you for asking because I'm going to try to answer this. Believe me, guys, I'm not an expert. I believe there are 5 tones. There's mid tone, which is like the normal tone, and then there's high tone, which I still start with like so like the word ma is like 3 different meanings. Ma, and I'm probably doing the tones wrong. So ma, which is the rising tone, or sorry, the rising tone, that means dog. Ma, which is like the high tone, which I probably didn't do right, is horse, and ma, which is the mid tone, is come, like come here. So it's kind of funny. And then there's the low tone, and then there's the falling tone. Ma, like poot, like so. Yeah, I am the last person to be teaching anyone Thai, but I probably know more Thai than most people watching this. So, oh, so I'm gonna take a little break here. Wow, and my fan is off. I just have the AC, so it's hot. I will usually go an entire day without wearing a shirt, except to ride somewhere. So, Revolver, I'm scrolling back here. Revolver is a great movie with Jason Statham. It's very existential too. It's a very deep movie. You love the DC movies? I I don't like I don't they I couldn't get through any of the Supermans. They're just sorry guys. This is documentation of my internet dropping occasionally. Does anyone else have any other questions or something? It's almost an hour and a half here. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go rest my voice and maybe go to the beach. Hey, you're welcome, man. Thanks for being here, everybody. I guess I'll post this, see if anybody watches it. I have this SteamYard logo. I might get rid of that. How many countries have I been to? Not that many. I mean, I've only been traveling recently, but I went to when I was young. I went to Israel and Poland, and then Israel, which was a very interesting like youth group trip. And then I've been to Canada. Obviously, anyone living in upstate New York goes to Canada. I've been to Mexico, been to Costa Rica. Um, I went to France briefly when I was finishing college. I like took a week-long trip to France. And then since I've come around here, I've been to the Philippines, Japan, Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam, and Thailand. So a few. Yeah. Thanks, guys. And good to see you, George. We should catch up again soon. I love to catch up with my fellow oceanic people, similar time zones. Otherwise, it's like 3 a.m. Have I spotted sharks? No. By the way, someone asked me about surfing. I'm in the Gulf of Thailand, so there's not that much surfing. There's a lot of wind, but there's no waves. Very few waves, and there's no sharks here. Yeah, it's pretty tame. Go to Cambodia. I would love. Listen, man, I wanted to visit Cambodia. It was on my list, and then COVID happened, so I'm not going to Cambodia. You know, I actually have visited Laos technically because I did a visa run before, right? March 2020. It was freaky, man. I mean, I barely got back into Thailand. I did a day trip. Like I literally flew in and flew back, which you're not supposed to do. And the customs guy looked at me, and I remember thinking, I mean, I thought he wasn't going to let me in. Because he asked me like, what's this all about? I said, I had a meeting. And he said, you really shouldn't do it. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I won't, do this again. Japan is wonderful. I really wanted to go back there. I was in Kyoto. The subways are beautiful. They put bakeries in the subways, so it smells nice. The people are really nice. I love Japan, man. I would like to go back. I have a student, Michael, who lives there. He's in Osaka. Yeah. All right, guys. I'd love to keep chatting, but I can feel that my voice is getting tired. So yeah, I don't understand how these people like Howard Stern or Joe Rogan do it for like 2 hours a day. Yeah, that was what I said about the New York subway. That's what I was surprised by in Japan. I was like, yeah, guys, why don't you put a little bakery in there instead of like, the smell of urine? Family in Saigon that can. Oh, you have family in Saigon. Very cool. And you called it Saigon. That's very interesting because I know that's a big thing with like. So you must be from the South, right? Because they don't call it Ho Chi Minh. I have very limited experience in Vietnam, but I know. But yeah, I went to Dalat in 2017 with my girlfriend at the time, and I stayed in this beautiful resort, and yeah, it was nice. It was very nice. Anyway, guys, I'm rambling here. Thanks for showing up. I'm gonna end this. If you liked it, feel free to leave a comment when I post it. Let me know if you have any, questions for future ones, and maybe I'll pop on here again because in the afternoon there's nobody from America to talk to because everyone's asleep. So, all right, guys, thanks a lot. I'll see you soon.